Today I'm looking at sends and returns and some reasons why you might use your effects plugins on those rather than on your inserts. Hey, what's good everybody? Welcome back to Lifted Noise. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name is Raul and I got another mixing inside the MPC live vlog. This is part 4. If you haven't seen any of the others, I will link to number 1 in the description, or go ahead and check a card somewhere on the top of the screen. Today I'm looking at sends and returns and some reasons why you might use your effects plugins on those rather than on your inserts. And then I want to look at doing some MIDI learn, MIDI mapping with an external controller. I'm fortunate enough I find stuff like this at thrift shops quite a bit, and so thankfully I have this now. I'm going to map some of these knobs to control my sends, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So stick around if you're interested. I also got a beat challenge coming up for Father's Day, a kids toy challenge, being that I'm a father and I have all these toys laying around. Shouting out to Special Nobodies here on YouTube, who is also a father and a beat maker, and he's accepted the challenge of creating a beat strictly out of kids toys. If anyone wants to join, I'm going to leave the link to the raw files in the description to this. So if you're up for the challenge, you can post up on Father's Day. So go ahead and check it out. Let's get right into the mixing in the MPC. I got this snare right here. I put a reverb on return and then controlled the send. I got it MIDI mapped to this knob here on this keyboard. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this and talk a little bit of why I'm doing it. First of all, I want to look at inserts, because inserts are probably the most obvious place you would insert some plugins, some effects. So to get there, you'd go menu, program edit, and down here hit the effects tab, and there you have 4 spots where you can put plugins, different effects. This is one way of getting here. There's also another way of getting here. I'll just show you real quick. Menu, pad mixer, and then you also have all these pads laid out so you can choose what pad you want. And then you go click right here, and then you also have the same slots for your effects. Looking at my snare, I have some effects here. I've inserted a air filter and an air compressor. This is kind of my mix process, and what I've been learning is that I'll use my inserts, things like dynamic processors, which would be your compressors, or things like EQ and filters. Or you could put a reverb on your insert and that would work fine, and it would apply to that pad, to that one sound that you're inserting it on. But alternatively, as I said, I have a reverb mapped. I have a reverb mapped that I can control with this MIDI controller over here, and I have this reverb on a return. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that. So the way you would get there is by pressing menu. You want to go into your channel mixer, and then you want to go over here to mixer, and then turn your knob until you see returns. Okay, and then select your first return. You have up to 4 of them, and then on there you want to lay your reverb. So I've put a reverb here, and then going in, I won't go into many of the actual settings of the reverb other than the mix. I'm actually going to set the mix to 100. So this is kind of like a wet dry knob, so how much of the effect is actually applied to the sound. So if it was on an insert, I would probably mess around with changing the mix. I wouldn't leave it at 100, because then you would just get the full wet sound of the reverb, which would sound like that. So the reason why I put it on 100, because the actual send level is going to work as my wet dry. From here, I actually want to go menu and go back to pad mixer, and then I'm going to click on send down here. I'm on my drum program and I have my snare. So turning this up right here, turning my send up, and as you can see, there's little boxes right here at the bottom. And now the first box represents the return 1, and so you have up to 4. Like we looked at, there's 4 returns that you can put effects on. So I have a reverb on return 1, and that's returning here. So the sound that's going through, my snare, or it says my clap at the moment, so I guess this is some sort of a clap. Sounds like a snare to me. But my snare is being sent, so that's why it's called a send. And then it's going to the return, which is going through the reverb. The reverb is returning back to my send. Alright, that's how that works. So I can control this and turn my reverb up, and I'm just using my knob right now. And I'm turning the send up, so this is effectively controlling the wet, the ratio of wet dry, I guess. And so you can hear that my reverb is increasing. You can apply that one reverb to many different sounds. So I have all these pads that I can send it to. I could have it on my whole drum kit. So I could turn this up. This is my hi-hat here. And you can hear that the reverb is going up. Another reason why you might want to send multiple sounds to the same reverb is, for example, I want to send all these sounds, which are my drum kit. Imagine a real live drum kit being played. It's being played in a room which has a certain sound, a certain reverberation to it. So this can actually serve as, you might hear it called, a glue, to have some kind of consistency to the sound, something that is relative to all these sounds to make them sound better together, to glue them together. Another reason why I might use a send return versus an insert with something like a reverb is so that I could automate the amount of reverb very easily. And then if I have a controller like this, that I can automate multiple things at once. And that's pretty much it. So I want to show you how to MIDI map this controller. Any controller, it's just the same principle. And then maybe I'll go into showing a little bit of how that automation works. Alright, so we're going to go out. I'm just going to hit main. I'm going to go to menu. We have MIDI control here towards the bottom. We want to click on MIDI learn here. And then press the plus sign. So, we want to look at source. Now, these are all the names of my tracks. And it's really limited what you can control with tracks. Just level, pan, volume. That's about it. So we want to go to our program. And you're going to have to scroll all the way through all these because that's program 001, which is a default. I'm just going to scroll through until I found the proper program. And this is probably going to be a lot of scrolling since I have a lot of different programs in here. So I want to scroll all the way through until I find my drum program. I already have that snare send MIDI mapped. So I'm going to map the hi-hat next. So right now I'm scrolling through. I'm at sample group. I believe the next one should be drum group. So there it is. So once you hit drum group, the next turn is going to show you the pad. So I have my hi-hat on pad A03. So now that's selected. When you're in MIDI learn, you actually can't hear the sound from the pads. You can't control them. So, but I know that it's there. And so my target I'm going to look at is send 1. Alright. And then we want to press learn. And then you just want to go over to your MIDI controller and then just turn the knob that you want to map. So I'm going to go over here. It's this knob. I'm going to go right back to the screen so you can see what happens when I turn it. And I'll let you know when I turn it. So I'm turning it, and there you see it has affected that, and now it is MIDI mapped so that I can control the send level of my hi-hat. So turning it now, and I'll go into pad mixer, and then looking at the send, I'll turn the knob. Just gonna play the beat, turn the knob, so you can see the send level changing and the reverb coming in. Alright, so automation is a topic for a whole nother video. It's something that I really haven't even put too much effort in my whole mix process because I don't even get there, to be honest. I have a tendency not to finish projects. I start beats, I don't even flesh them out. I don't. A lot of times they're just loops, they're not arrangements, and I'm working on that. So, from my learning process in school, what I've been told is that automation is the final step after mixing, the final step of mixing and after mixing. It's just about the very last thing. And also, I've heard that it's the difference between an amateur mix and a professional mix. I've heard someone say that. Either it was a teacher who was quoting someone, but it sounded good. So, I mean, it makes sense. Automation is a very valuable tool that you can use to add life to your tracks. So, it might be something that you want to do, and it's very valuable if you have effects on Ascend so that you can automate the level of, for example, how much reverb. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm not really going to explain it too much. I'm just going to play it out and let y'all see. So So that should be recorded now. I'm just going to play it out and watch the automation. I need to actually finish some beats. I want to come up with a mixing template. I have a beat making template, combine all that, and learn how to follow through and finish things. It's very important. I'm here to better myself, and hopefully that's an encouragement for all of you to do so, and inspiration, and I hope to do that as well. That's pretty much it. So go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Raul. This is Lifted Noise. So peace, everyone. Take care.